I've got a bunch of new makeup here that I am so excited to test out with you guys. Some of these things are gonna be brand new for me. They're gonna be first impressions, and others are things that I've kind of been testing out a little bit behind the scenes to give you a little bit more of a well-rounded review on. I made a Lisa Eldridge order. We have the new YSL blushes, the Rare Beauty cream bronzer, and I think I'm finally going to try some lilac powder. A little bit nervous about this. We'll see how that goes. If you're new here, hi, I'm Jamie. I make beauty and lifestyle content. If you want to stick around, definitely hit the subscribe button. If you guys like today's video, hit the like button. It really helps to let me know that you guys enjoy these types of videos, and let's get right into it. First things first, let's remove my glasses so I can no longer see. We're gonna start off first with a primer. I'm so excited that this is back in my life. This is the TULA Filter Primer, and this was actually a favorite of mine for quite a while. I finished an entire tube of this, and then I just never got around to repurchasing it. So this is a primer that will very lightly blur and give a very soft tint to the skin. And it was one of my favorites for a while because I would often use just this all over my face and then just spot conceal with a little bit of concealer. And I always felt like it gave me a really nice no makeup look. Because it does have a little bit of a tint to it, it almost feels like it gives a little bit of coverage, even though it doesn't really give any coverage at all. So it starts off this creamy white color. And then when you start to blend it into the skin, it's going to transform into a tint. It just adds a little bit of warmth to the skin, and it's blurring without being drying, which I need because my dry skin would not approve of any product that dries it out. And this just feels really, really nice and hydrating on the skin. I ordered a bunch of products from Lisa Eldridge. I got the Seamless Skin Enhancing Tint, Sculpt and Shade Lip Pencil, the brand new Pinpoint Concealer, which I was most excited about, and a lipstick. The only products that I've ever tried from the Lisa Eldridge line are the bullet lipsticks, but besides that, I'm not that familiar with anything else that she has, and I've heard really, really amazing things about this skin tint in particular. And a little disclaimer, if you are in Canada, I would expect some duty charges. I got charged a hefty amount for my products. So this is what the enhancing tint packaging looks like. It's very nice and compact, kind of looks like a little egg. When it comes to my skin, I love a no makeup look, and that's how the skin tint is described. It's supposed to give you that second skin finish, supposed to be very hydrating, very lightweight. It's not going to give you a lot of coverage, at least based off of its claims. There's 20 shades in the line. I got T6, which is supposed to be a light neutral. This is definitely a pretty true neutral shade. When I blend this into my skin, it disappears. So this is a pretty perfect shade match for me. Typically neutral shades, even though they're supposed to be neutral, they will often lean a little bit more pink or a little bit more yellow. This really is like a true neutral shade. Formula is also made of 78% skincare ingredients, so this is going to be a very hydrating foundation as well. So Lisa actually recommends putting just 2 drops on the back of your hand, so that's what I'm going to do, dotting it on the face and then blending it out with your fingers or a dense kabuki brush. This is a very serumy, almost skincare-like texture, so I think I'm just going to use my fingers at least on one side of my face just to see how that applies. Oh yeah. Okay. I already love it. That just completely erased the redness on my face. What? I do think you need more than 2 drops, I will say that, but I did not think that this was going to give me really that much coverage. I thought it was really just going to be almost more like a Glossier skin tint vibe, where it just gives more of a tint than coverage, but this is definitely giving coverage to the skin. I don't even really feel the need to go in with a brush because the fingers are really just doing the trick. So I'm just gonna keep it with the fingers. The finish is not matte, but it's also not super glowy. It just looks very skin-like, and there's a little bit of a glow, but it's not over the top at all. And it also made my skin look really poreless and smooth, which is not at all something that I would expect out of a skin tint. But with all that said, my skin still looks like skin. It still looks super lightweight, and all of my redness has disappeared. So how does that get any better? Like, I really, really love everything that I'm seeing, and that shade match, like I said, is perfection for my current skin tone. It also doesn't feel sticky at all. It doesn't even feel like this is something I would need to set with powder. I just kind of can't believe that it's taking me this long to try this because it's so good. Wow, okay. very exciting start to the video. Now we're gonna go into the Pinpoint Concealer. This is a micro correcting concealer pencil. If you're familiar with Lisa Eldridge, she talks about her pinpoint concealing technique all the time. I really do love how Lisa does her complexions and her makeup because it's always so natural looking. She doesn't layer on a ton of full coverage foundation to get a perfect looking base. Instead, she'll use more of a lightweight skin tint, probably something like this. And then she'll use her pinpoint concealing technique to conceal any redness, discoloration, to give that more perfected look. And her pinpoint concealing technique would typically use like a really tiny little brush dipped into concealer and then using that little bit of concealer to very precisely conceal whatever she wants to conceal on the face. So with that said, she created a little tiny concealer pencil to mimic that same technique. And I have personally never tried a concealer pencil or a concealer that was this teeny tiny. And I honestly think that this is genius. It almost looks like an eyeliner. I got the shade number 4, which is a pretty good match for me. It's a little bit peachier than like the foundation that I use, which is actually what I like in my concealer because I find that if I go too neutral for my concealer, it looks a little bit dull and almost a little bit gray on me, and a little bit of peachiness is nice because it kind of brightens things up a little bit. The formula is described as a gel concealer and it feels creamy, but it doesn't feel so creamy where it's gonna like slip and slide on the face. Like this feels like a product that will set down on its own. All right, so let's start concealing and see how this does. I'm a little bit lazy when it comes to my makeup, if I'm being completely honest, and I typically like a quick and easy solution to what I'm trying to achieve. So when it comes to my concealer, I like just slapping on some concealer and not being like too overly precise with it. But this is definitely more of a time-consuming method. But if you want to get that really natural look, it might be worth it. So I'm just kind of coloring in the darkest part of my under eye. Then I'm blending it with my finger and I'm just like very lightly dispersing the concealer by pushing it in and blending it out and up. Wow, that really looked like it disappeared into the skin. I'm just gonna put a little bit more. That looks pretty good underneath the eyes. I was worried it would be a little bit drying because of the texture, but it's not looking drying at all. It doesn't even look like I have product there. That's crazy. I'm also gonna put some around my nose. She also recommended in her tutorial that she did that if you wanna cover up a spot, don't just go in and just, make a circle over the spot and that's it. You kind of wanna blend the concealer by scribbling over the general area of where the spot is and then concentrate a little bit more coverage on the actual spot and then blend it a little bit. And that gives you more of that seamless blend. Because it's so creamy, the point kind of goes down very, very quickly. How do you sharpen this? Is it a twist? It's a twist. Okay, good. Oh, and there's also a little sharpener in the cap as well. Let's do the other under eye. So again, I'm just kind of scribbling underneath the eye, on the side, and a little bit over here where I have a little bit of like green. I feel like the combination of these two products gives truly the most perfect no makeup look. I am liking this pencil more than I thought I would. I would love to hear in the comments if this is a product that you would see yourself using. I have a lot of dryness on my skin right now, especially right over here. I'm very, very impressed with both these complexion products and I'm very excited to see how they are going to wear. Now that my complexion is done, let's go into the bronzer, and this is a pretty exciting new launch from Rare Beauty. It is the new liquid contour in the shade Solace. Considering how popular their liquid blushes are, I'm actually surprised that it's taken them this long to do a liquid contour. So this is one of the products that I have already tested out. I feel very neutral about this bronzer. I liked it, but I wasn't obsessed with it. Just like the blushes, this is a pretty pigmented product. You definitely do not want to over apply this, otherwise you will be blending for a very long time. Similar to the blushes, it's very pigmented and creamy, but it blends into the skin very, very seamlessly and easily, as you can see. To be honest, I don't really feel like this is a completely unique formula. I definitely have other things in my collection that look and perform very similarly, but regardless of that, it is still a nice product and I really like the finish of it. I like that it's a little bit more of a matte finish. It's not super glossy or emollient, so it's a product that is actually going to last and lock down on your face. Another way to apply it that would kind of make it even a little bit easier rather than just putting it directly on your face, is putting it on the back of your hand and then working the product in the brush. And I'm using this tiny brush from Reference in number 13 to just very lightly shade the sides of my nose to contour. Because there was one time that I tried to put the product directly onto my nose to contour with it, and it was a disaster. Working it into the brush first makes it a very easy product to work with. So all in all, am I like freaking out over this? Not necessarily, because it's not ultra unique and it's not something that I haven't seen before, but it's a good product. Let's talk blush. These are the new YSL Make Me Blush blushes. I actually did a full swatch video, which I will put right over here over on my Instagram, which I highly recommend that you guys follow. I've been doing a lot of full swatch videos on Instagram. It's been really fun to do. So if you're into swatches or you just want to keep up with me, would definitely follow over there. But here are all the swatches of all of the shades from this collection. First of all, the packaging on these blushes are beautiful. It literally looks like a mini blush version of a YSL bag. And I love that they corresponded the color of this to the color of the blush. 54 is my favorite shade of all the ones that I tried. It's like a true strawberry pink. One thing I noticed right away with this formula is that it is pretty powdery, so that's something to be a little bit more mindful of. You don't want to dig into this product too much because you're just going to end up getting too much pigment on your brush. So a couple taps will do. You want to tap off the excess for sure. The color payoff for this powder is just beautiful. Like, this is one tap into the blush, and honestly, maybe I even overapplied it a little bit. If you like really blushy looks, these blushes will definitely give it to you. I will say I definitely prefer the matte shades over the more sparkly and metallic shades. I just feel like the sparkle and the more metallic shades are a little bit too intense for my liking, whereas the matte shades just look really creamy and beautiful on the cheeks. Because this is so bright, I just want to disperse the color around my face so it's not so intense. So I'm going to put some on my temples, on my eye, even a little bit on my nose. How pretty is this pink? I love it. Okay. Every ounce of me does not want to put this on my face, I'm not going to lie, because I love what my complexion looks like right now, and I'm worried that this lilac powder is going to ruin it. But my curiosity is kind of getting the best of me. This is the Easy Bake Loose Baking and Setting Powder from Huda Beauty in the shade Ube Birthday Cake. I've been seeing this all over social media, and I'm just so curious as to what this actually looks like in person. Lilac in general is supposed to brighten up your skin, but it really does depend on your skin tone. I don't know if this is a color that's really going to work for me, or if it's just gonna make it look like I put blush underneath my eyes. I'm doing this for you guys though, I really am. I'm not really the biggest fan of the Huda Beauty powders in general. I do feel like they're a little bit too heavy, or a lot of bit too heavy for my liking. I do prefer much more lightweight powder. It's just my personal preference. I like things like the Tower 28 Get Set or the Kosas Cloud Set. The one loose powder that I'm a really big fan of is the Makeup by Mario loose powder, but that's because I find it's very lightweight for loose powder. Typically loose powders tend to be on the heavier side, and they're better if you want that more like mattifying look, which I typically don't want. Wow, that is lilac. I'm worried it's gonna clash with my warm blush that I just put on. Okay, so there's different ways that you could apply a powder like this. You can use a little mini puff like this if you really wanna press it in. I want it to be a little bit more on the light side, so I'm actually gonna use this little fan brush, and we're gonna do one side at a time just to see what it does. I do like that there's a little mesh sifter at the top, so you don't need to necessarily dump it out. And let's just sweep it instead of packing it on and see what that does. That did nothing. You know, when I saw this product on social media, it looked like it was the brightest lilac under eye powder, but I'm assuming that's probably because people are like pressing and packing it on the skin to really get it to show up that intensely. But I guess this is a nice way to show that, you know, you can apply it really lightly, which still does the trick, by the way. It still sets the makeup, and it's not gonna look, I mean, even a little bit lilac. Well, now I wanna see what it looks like with the puff. Okay, I'm gonna go a little bit more full on this side. Okay, that definitely packs on more of the color. It's really not as intense as I expected it would be at all. I thought I would have purple under eyes. Because this is such like a cool lilac, almost pink color, you know, it's actually doing a nice job of brightening up. Even though it did brighten up my under eyes, I feel like it almost looks a little bit dull. This would not be a product that I would reach for. I much prefer my Candy Kosas Cloud Set, which is like a very, very light pink powder. Kind of does the same thing, but it doesn't make me look a little bit more dull. I'm gonna revive my skin now with some MAC Fix Plus because it was looking a little bit powdery. I do wanna do a little bit of blush layering. This is my new favorite blush. It's not necessarily new, but it's new to me. I picked it up just about a week ago. It's the RMS ReDimension Hydra Powder Blush in the shade Maidens Blush. I've tried this formula before in a different color. Absolutely love it. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous glowy blush formula. There's not really shimmer in here, but as you can see in the compact, it gives a pretty intense glow. This particular color, if you want a blush that kind of gives you that bronzer-like warmth with glow, yep, this is it. It's beautiful on its own, and it also really layers so nicely on top of so many other blushes because it's pretty sheer and buildable. It's not ultra intense in the color like the YSL ones are. Like, this is something you can layer and it's not gonna overpower whatever's underneath it. But you see how that just like very lightly warmed up my cheek, and it also added a glow. I'm also gonna put this kind of like layered on top of where I put the bronzer to tie it in there as well. Just know that you will be hearing me talk about this probably way too much. Let's do a little bit on the eyes. This is the Anastasia Volumizing Brow Gel in medium brown. This is a nice brow gel that kind of fills in the brows just a little bit. I've been using this quite a bit. You do need to be a little bit more light-handed with it because it can be a little bit intense. But if you use it sparingly, it gives a really nice naturally filled in look. There's kind of two sides to the brush. There's a longer side, which is the side that I prefer to use, and then a shorter, denser side. The shorter, denser side kind of packs on the product a little bit more, whereas the longer side is a little bit more light-handed with the product, so you can get a very natural looking filled in brow. It's a great all-in-one. Sets and fills in. For the eyes, oh my God, I cannot wait to try this out. This is an Armani eye tint in the shade 67S. It's essentially a shimmery champagne liquid shadow. Listen, this is definitely not something you haven't seen before. It's not a unique color in the slightest, but I can have 70 million of these champagne sparkly shades in my collection, and I will frankly never get tired of them. They're some of my most used, most loved types of colors to wear, and this just looks so pretty. It looks super glossy, and there's the finest little bits of shimmer in here. I've swatched it multiple times on the back of my hand, but I haven't actually put it on my lid, so I'm very excited to see if it's as gorgeous on my lid as it is on the back of my hand. And I think it might just be that, yeah. What I'm liking about this is that it doesn't look like I'm wearing a metallic champagne shadow. It's just giving like an all over glossy glow. Oh my God, this is so pretty. Wow, wow, wow. Ooh. I'm gonna lower the brightness. I feel like it'll help you guys see it a little bit better, but this is giving like the perfect amount of shimmer and glow to the lids. Wow, that is a strong, strong yes for me. I'm not sure if I want to put on mascara. I'm gonna do my lip and then we'll see how I feel, and potentially I'll put mascara on. But right now I'm kind of liking the no mascara look. Circling back to Lisa Eldridge. So this is the Sculpt and Shade Lip Pencil in the shade On. This looked like it was going to be the most perfect contour shade, and I already swatched it and immediately got so excited because it really does look like the perfect cool toned, but not too cool toned lip pencil. And then I also wanted to pick up another one of her lip colors in a formula that I haven't tried yet. This is the melting lip color, and I got the shade Metropolis, cool tone brown. It's not as intense as it is in the tube. It's more of like a sheer, balmy, glossy shade. The pencil feels very waxy. This feels like something that's gonna lock down and last. Oh my God, this is a perfect contour shade. This looks exactly like the Victoria Beckham Travertine contour cream pencil thing, but in a lip pencil form. It's almost not even looking like I'm really lining my lips. It's just giving me definition. I'm gonna clean up the edge of my lip liner with the Pinpoint concealer. This is actually the way I was most excited to use this pencil because I do this very often with my lip looks just to clean up the edges and make them look nice and sharp. And I normally use like a tiny little brush to get this done, but this is so convenient. Ooh, that is a good cool tone brown. Very lightweight, very gel-like, I like that formula a lot. I really like the color. It's not really complementing my cheeks very nicely, I will say that, but has nothing to do with the product. I'm gonna just dab this off and actually put on another product that I wanted to talk about with you guys. This is also gonna complement my cheeks a little bit better, I think. So this is the new Makeup by Mario SuperShine lip gloss. I've been testing this out also for about a week now. I love the applicator on this. It's a doe foot applicator with kind of like a flattened round tip. So it just dispenses the perfect amount of product and it smooths on the lips really nicely. It's pretty light in pigment. I mean, this obviously looks so deep in the tube, but on the lips, this is how it translates. So you're not going to get a lot of color with these. I do really like how it sits on the lips. It kind of sits above the lip line so it doesn't sink in and it gives a very plump look. Formula wise, I would say this is probably one of the better lip oils that I've tried. I just really love the texture of it. It's kind of the perfect lip oil texture in my opinion. I have decided that I am not going to put on mascara. I'm kind of liking the no mascara look right now. The star of today's video, without a doubt, was the skin tint and the Pinpoint concealing pencil, because I do really feel like both of these products are very much unlike anything else that I have in my collection. I've been reviewing makeup for like 12 years. And at this point, there's few products that I try that really get me very excited because it kind of feels like I've tried it all. But when I try something that feels different, that is kind of filling a gap that I didn't even know that I had in my makeup collection, that's really what gets me excited. And this Pinpoint concealing pen is that. Like, this is so unique. I have nothing else like it, and I can really see a place for this in my collection. And I mean, the skin tint is looking incredible. I keep glancing at myself in my mirror that I have next to me over here, and I don't know where my pores went. It looks fresh, glowing, perfected, but not at all overdone. That's everything that I have to talk about with you guys today. I really hope that you enjoyed it. Definitely let me know all of your thoughts. If you tried any of the products that I spoke about today, I want to hear your own reviews in the comments. Hit the thumbs up button if you enjoy videos like these, and subscribe if you want to see more from me in the future. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.